saw a baby come out, and all I could hear was, "Madam, this is your baby. Unfortunately, we lost him."
Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. As we promised this year, I told you we're gonna do more of collabs, and so today we have here one of my big sisters, yes, and she's in the person of
This is Priscilla AC Asanidobe.
yes. So Mr. Priscilla, we want you to tell us briefly a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I am Mrs. Priscilla AC Asanidobe, a civic educator. I'm married with children, lots of children.
How many?
Well, they are about seven children.
Wow, this woman here is one of the strongest women I actually admire. Yeah, and come to think of it, you're sparkling.
Thank you.
Yes, and so you have 7 children,
Yes, I do.
all biological.
Well, no. Well, I'll say they are all biological because I've accepted them as my own. So when you come to me, it will be very difficult to find out who is my biological child or not. So I say they are my children.
Okay, so we want to discuss more about how you gave birth to them.
Okay. So for the record, I have 3 biological children. The first one, who is almost 10 years, I had her through vaginal birth.
Wow.
And
The rest?
well, the rest, there were some complications somewhere, and as a result of that, my story changed from giving birth via vagina, and then now all the other children are through cesarean section.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
I want you to share your experience about the vaginal birth, a little experience you had. Were you prepared psychologically? What was your fears with the vaginal birth? What you heard and everything? Just briefly.
Okay, so I remember when I got pregnant. I mean, it's every couple's dream to get pregnant after marriage. So the only method I know that you give birth is through the vagina.
Okay.
So I went for my antenatal. There was nothing, there was no other method or no other option that was given to us. So I prepared my mind that I was going to do the vagina birth. And then, you know, our parents, this conversation is not a conversation they normally have because they probably at the back of their mind, they don't want to put fear in you. So I kept asking my mom, how is giving birth like? I know labor is painful from the movies we watch and all, but she should at least tell me something. So go, it's okay, it's cool, you'll be fine. So I spoke to one of my big sisters who came to visit me when I was almost due, and then she told me her experience, and I appreciated it because she was being real. She made me know the extent to which labor, yes, not like how our parents used to, like it's saying, oh yeah, so that's what they always say. But then it was a serious business. I labored from 12 a.m. and I gave birth 12 a.m.
Wow, so like a whole
day.
Guys,
It was
labored
a whole
from 12
day.
a.m. to the next 12 a.m.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So we thank God. It's an experience. I mean, every woman should go through it. It's
Wow.
nice. It's a mixed feeling. You
And
cry
and then you laugh.
and you laugh.
I can't imagine. So that was the first one you had vaginal delivery.
Yes.
And the other 2?
The other 2. So what happened was, after 2 years, my girl was 2 years. I was using a family planning then. So IUD. Let me be specific. IUD. So when we thought we were ready to have a second child, I went to take it off, and then God being so good, I got pregnant. So that was somewhere 2015. So by then we had moved to our new place, a new settlement, and then I went to one of the health clinics over there. So I kept going for the antenatal until the 6th month, when I went for a scan, and it just came out, boom. So the facial expression of the doctor made me shiver a little. So he was like, according to the scan, you may not be able to deliver through your vagina.
Wow. So it was the doctor who took the scan that told you this?
Yes.
So at that point in time, you were 6 months?
Yes, I was 6 months.
What went through your mind when he told you that information? Because growing up, as he said, all you knew was vaginal birth.
Yes.
So how did you take it?
No, I thought he was just saying something. Like, no, because I prayed before I left the house.
Or China?
Yes, I mean, you're just speaking English. So I'm like, Doc, please calm down. I don't understand. I mean, my baby is fine. I hear him kick. Then I didn't know the sex, so I could feel my baby kick and all. So what's the problem? Then he explained that the position of the baby will be very difficult, or will make it very difficult for me to deliver through my vagina. So I was like, how? So he mentioned the word, my pregnancy is a breech pregnancy. Okay. Immediately I took my phone and I Googled, and I just read what is the meaning of breech. So I realized that, because I didn't want to take what the doctor said. So I read, and it was like, my baby was coming with a bottom. Okay. So from that time to the 9th month, it will only take divine intervention for the position to change. So when he said that, I was like, okay, I mean, this is like, forgive me, probably I need to go to a bigger hospital, because what shall I do? So let me also go to a bigger hospital to find out. So I only told him, okay, so he gave me a referral to go to one of the big hospitals.
And that placed me.
Well, what happened was, at that time, the company I was working with had its affiliates hospitals. Okay. So I opted to go to the private hospital for the first time, which was a bit closer to my workplace because of proximity, probably after antenatal. And then the kind of work I was doing, it would be very difficult for you to be keep asking permissions. So I needed somewhere I could easily go for antenatal, then after that I go to work or leave home to the hospital without hassle. So I chose a private hospital with the intention that the story would be different. So I spoke to the doctor, and he was like, well, what the other doctor said is true. I took the scan like 3 times, and every day I take the scan, you can't imagine the prayers. I mean, wow. The prayers I had to pray, the faith I had. So I took it, and it was the same story. So the doctor told me there could be a miracle where the baby would turn, but then let's see what goes on in the few weeks to come. So I was a bit relieved. I spoke to my husband about it, and then we were like, okay, let's see. I spoke to some close family members, those that I could speak to, because this decision is not something that is just for you and your husband. Your parents may, or I think it's necessary for your parents to be involved. So I spoke to my mom, and then my mother, being the spiritual, she was like, oh, the devil is a liar. The devil is a liar, but you'll be fine. I said, okay. So what happened was, after In my 7th month, close to my 8th month, then the miracle happened. So the doctor said, my baby is fine, the baby had 10. Wow. And you know, because I had already psyched my mind, I'm not going for a cesarean session.
Okay, so talking about cesarean session.
Yeah.
Was it mentioned to you?
Yes, that was what the doctor said. That's because of the position of the baby.
So he discussed the cesarean session with you.
What he said was it is safe, it's the safest method, and then you'll be fine and all.
So after saying that,
how
did you feel?
No, I wasn't convinced. I wasn't convinced because in the African setting, we take a cesarean session as a spiritual punishment. Yes. It will surprise you the level of educated people still having that mentality that cesarean session is a no-go area.
It's like Wakodi Bonnie, like you've gone to do something wrong, you've gotten pregnant, you have to do CS as your punishment.
Yes.
Wow.
And some of our religious leaders, and then the religious, I'm saying some because others know better, but then they always make it look like it's a punishment, it's a curse, it's
like it's an abomination.
It's an abomination. You are supposed to give birth like a Hebrew woman.
As a child of God, that Hebrew woman.
I tell you. So like I keep praying, I'm going to give birth in the name of Jesus. I'm going to give birth like a Hebrew woman, like that.
No knife will touch you.
No knife will touch me. So it happened like that, and then back to my miracle. The doctor told me your baby's position has changed. Wow. Now the head he's ready for delivery. He's ready to come out. So you can imagine how happy I was.
I could imagine, like the
miracle
has finally happened.
In fact, you are just close to me. Like, oh God, I am your favorite daughter. I mean, you are just a prayer answering God. So I was so happy. I spoke to my husband about it first before I told my mom, and then we were all happy. So the doctor told me earlier that if it's a cesarean session, it's from 38 weeks. Your baby is ready to come out. So he asked me if I will still go ahead 38 weeks. I said no.
You are waiting for
I am waiting for the normal delivery. So I passed the 38 weeks, 39 weeks, 40 weeks and some few days, and I started feeling. I woke up one morning and I started feeling. And because I've given birth before, I know what that meant. So this is where complacency sets in. Because my first pregnancy, I was talking with my midwife. So she kept like taking me through the process. How many times do you get contractions in a minute? So I kept doing that, and then when I realized that it was getting intense, that's when I went to the hospital. So when I got there, I was really in pain. Then they checked to find out how close I am to giving birth. And then when they did that, the matron excused herself, went to see the doctor. The doctor came in and checked, and you could see that there was something wrong. So now what they had to do was to tell me that, like the initial scan, the baby is breech. The baby is coming with a leg.
Again?
Yes, again. Yes. The baby is coming with a leg. They feel the leg. I was like, how? How is that possible? So by the time they discussed that, and they had to refer me, because one, they have to save mother and save baby. Yes. So every other means. So you see the irony of life. I escaped from something
And then you came to meet
and I came to meet it again.
It's not like escape. Would you call it escape?
Well, I was trying
what
to avoid.
I won't blame you for that, but because in our setting, that was what we've been told and like fashioned, like that's how we've been taught to think. And if you think CS, it will be like the last thing on your mind. And even though it's the last thing on your mind, you don't even want to think about it. You go like, over my dead body. Yeah. God forbid, like it will never happen. All that thing. So, but it's another area that you have to really think about if you are pregnant. It will be painful to go through your pregnancy from week 1 to 40 weeks, 39 weeks, and just lose it just because of a decision you took not to do CS for you to save yourself and save your baby. So at that point in time, what was running through your mind? Because you escaped it, thinking you are going to give birth like a blue woman and come back home with your baby. At that point in time.
At that point in time, it wasn't even about the method. It was about me bringing the baby out.
So at that point in time, you decided anything goes.
Anything goes. Like I don't care any longer. Just because the pain I was feeling at that time.
You couldn't think so.
Whatever English they were speaking, no. I
just want to have the baby.
I just wanted to have the baby, and that was it.
And was there some fears around it, knowing that you are not really prepared enough for the CS?
Like I said, at that time, it was just about God, save me and save my baby. I mean, just take control of every situation. So I was referred to a bigger hospital for a cesarean session. Even though that place, they could have done it easily. If I had planned it, they would have done it for me there. But because now the situation at hand, so they needed more experienced doctors. So if they were to let the doctors come to the facility then, probably it might take a little time. So my company car conveyed me to the hospital, and in my mind I was like, God, I thought I was losing it because it was so painful. By the time we got to the theater, they started the process and all, I was still in labor. Yes, so if I was to deliver through my vagina, I would have delivered like probably 2 hours earlier. Because I was close. My water broke.
Okay.
At that time.
When your water breaks, we're almost
so then, by the time I got to the hospital and they prepared a room for the cesarean session, I kept like, should I push? They said no, don't push. Should I push? They said no, don't push. Hold on.
It was. You felt the edge.
I really felt the edge to push. So they did what they had to do, and then. I think I was unconscious then, but all I could hear the doctor say, I just saw a baby come out.
You felt like something come out?
Yes, I felt like I was okay. Like so immediately they set me up for the process. They injected my back.
So that was anesthesia.
Yes. So when they did that, I didn't feel the labor pain any longer. Yes. So I felt okay. I was kind of dizzy, and I just could hear somebody tapping me at the back. Are you okay? Then I kept nodding and all. So I saw a baby come out, and all I could hear was, "Madam, this is your baby. Unfortunately, we lost him." And I said, "Okay."
Wow.
Yes. Then I said, okay.
Is it because like you were drowsy? So you
I went to the hospital to give birth. So I'm expecting my baby. So whatever English the doctor spoke then, I don't think I was there. I only said okay. So the way I said okay, she was like,
nah, that was not the response.
I said, you just lost your baby. I said, okay.
Again.
So then I didn't know what happened after that. I think about 4 to 5 hours after the whole surgery. Then I was lying in bed expecting my baby because I had lots of mothers around me with babies crying. I was waiting for my baby. I called for my mom, where is my baby? And I saw my husband there. I saw my bigger husband too there at that time. Then he came to hug me, crying. I'm like, where is my baby?
Why are you crying?
Where is my baby? Why are you crying? Please just bring me my baby. I saw a boy. I saw a baby boy come out. So where is my baby? So the tears, my mom who was trying so hard to hide the tears. My husband came, gave me a peck and was like, we lost him. I'm like, how? After all that I went through, no. We lost him. And up till now, I didn't get the opportunity to see my baby again. But then I can just like remember how he came out, his complexion, the height, everything. I saw. But so I was just looking at other mothers with twins and all for 4 days.
Wow.
No, so 5 days.
And you have to bear with that.
I had to bear with it.
I can't imagine myself being in the midst of mothers with their babies and you are there, you came to deliver and yours is not with you.
Yes.
So sorry that you had to go through.
I did.
That.
You know, no amount of words could console me. I was like, why? Like, didn't I serve God enough? Didn't I do what I was supposed to do as a child of God? Is it a punishment or something? Because it's not as if you got pregnant and miscarried. You went through it all the pain, to the last, and your baby is nowhere to be found. No. So when I was about to be discharged, they came to pick me up, pick my things, and I told them I'm coming. I'm going back to the ward for my baby because I don't understand. Like, I can't go home empty-handed. What shows that you've given them?
Wow.
Yes, it was difficult. I went back there, sitting on the bed, waiting to get my baby and go. By then, my husband was in the car, my mom was in the car,
waiting for you.
Waiting for me. I told them no one should follow me. I'm coming. They should just give me some time. I'm coming. So when I realized that maybe it was not coming, I mean, that was when I felt it. Because what's your evidence of pregnancy?
It's your baby.
It's your baby. And people didn't know I was going to the hospital, but then they know eventually you go to the hospital and come back with the baby. So I now didn't forgive myself. So the pain of losing my baby is different. And the thought of I should have done better, blaming myself.
So you blamed yourself?
I did.
You probably were thinking, if I had done it earlier, my baby was still
because at the end of the day, I still went through the cesarean session. It's something I never prayed to God to. It shouldn't ever happen to even my worst enemy. So that was it.
Okay, guys. So what would you have done better if you are faced with that situation again? And what would you advise expectant mothers as well?
So, like I said earlier, complacency is very dangerous when it comes to pregnancy. Always saying, I know. Don't assume. So I assumed and thought it was like that with all pregnancies, and then it delayed. I delayed in going to the hospital. If I had not delayed, I certainly may have given birth through my vagina then and then got my baby.
Okay, so fast forward, you had another cesarean section.
Yes.
How many after this one?
2.
And you had your baby?
Yes, I did.
And so, is it the experience of the first one that made you make the right decision this time round, so that you wouldn't have to go through you losing your baby for a whole 40 weeks and some days?
Yes. Those times I couldn't forgive myself, like I said, and I kept asking God why, because no amount of excuse or reason I wouldn't accept any reason like that. But then today, as I'm talking to you, I had appreciated what I went through then, because I talked to lots of women, expectant mothers, and then let them know the mistakes I did in the past. Let them know my experience. It's something somebody would have found it very difficult to talk about. Sure. But then, glory to God, after 2 years I gave birth, and it was still a boy.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And then after 3 years, I gave birth to my last baby girl.
Wow.
So it was a wake-up call for me. And then probably God gave me the chance to educate any other person. I call myself an ambassador of cesarean.
I can imagine. Yes, I remember when I was expected. Yeah, she reached out to me to tell me about the forms of delivery. If I hear of CS, I shouldn't shake. She shared her experience, and then she told me everything I had to know about CS, how she had to learn her the hard way, accepting it the hard way, the mistakes. And I was like, guys, this is a very good information for you guys to also learn, because Thelbert TV is just about enlightening you, letting you guys learn from our experience, the experiences of those around us. And we're like, we have to bring you guys in video. Want to know, how long have you been married?
I've been married for 10 years.
Guys, did you hear that? A decade. Let me put it that way. If you say 10 years, it makes you look like it's small. A decade of marriage. Wow. Charlie, some people can't keep a marriage for a week. A decade.
We give God all the glory.
You just share with us a little bit about marriage, like advice you give to first step one.
Okay, so I learned. I'm still learning. What I can say is that marriage is not a straitjacket that will work out for everybody if you go through this process. Because you are married to an individual different from my husband. Every human being is different and unique in his or her own way. Know yourself, one. When you know yourself, you realize that God has instituted marriage for us to get better. So by virtue of marriage, you get better. You work on your weaknesses, because your partner's weakness is your strength. And then your strength is your partner's weakness. So two bosses cannot live in a marriage.
Not at all.
Write your traits, positive traits. List out your weaknesses and match it to your partner. And realize that his weaknesses are your strength.
So it means like you meet just to complement each other.
You have to meet each other halfway. It's not, the moment you get married, it's not about you alone. The sacrifices people have to make, the foods people have to cancel out of their days. And all. I mean, we learn. We are still learning. 10 years, we are still going.
But we still want to learn from your 10 years. Yes, because some of us are still not there.
So, God's factor is the first. Yes. You need to pray like your life and your marriage depends on it. Without prayers, you can't make it. So you pray for yourself, you pray for your husband, you pray for your marriage. If you are not ready to pray, then go and meet the kind of person who wouldn't pray. But if you are ready to pray, make sure you get a man who knows God. And then respect.
Okay.
Respect. There are so many things you need to avoid in your relationship to marriage. Words that will hurt your partner. Insulting your partner. There are so many things that you will do that will break you down without using a knife on the person. Just the words alone will collapse a marriage. Yes. When you respect yourself, you will respect your partner. If you don't respect your husband, side chicks are the most perfect people.
With the top-notch respect.
Yes.
They will give it to them.
They are the most respected and perfect people. Your husband will get it out there. If you don't respect your wife, there are men out there who value your wife or who may value your wife, and then their attention will be drawn towards them.
So give a word of advice to our expected mothers out there.
Okay, there are so many misconceptions that go out there, and then I'll say for the record that the crown of pregnancy is your baby. It's not the method. Many women who go through vaginal delivery think they are better off than those who go through a cesarean section because they feel like one chim. You didn't go through pain.
I heard some girls say, "Obadi, onena watching."
You know?
Yeah, you're trying to say kind of over.
Yes. And then it's bad. We women, we have to encourage ourselves. I mean, whether you go through a cesarean section or through your vagina, you have still brought out your baby. And then that's the most important thing. You are alive and your baby is alive. So it doesn't make any woman difference. And bear in mind, labor is very painful. But then after the baby comes out, you are okay. But the cesarean section, you are okay until the baby comes out.
That's where the pain begins.
That's where the pain begins.
Wow.
And if you go through that or you see anyone go through that, you salute anyone who goes through a cesarean section. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Then to all those out there bringing out lives through cesarean sessions, we salute you. Because I have a friend who went through that. I was okay tying my belly and all that. I was like, Becky, I can't even sit to breastfeed my baby.
No.
And I could feel the pain in her voice anytime I called to check up on her. And I'm like, wow. Then as I hear because after I gave birth, they give you a little suture and you are okay. You can sit. He can't even sit to hold the baby to give the baby food.
Many women are afraid that they will lose their stature when they go through a cesarean section. Yes, you may not be able to tie your tummy after delivery immediately.
Yeah.
But then it takes months for the uterus to go back to its position. After a month, if you think you are okay, after 2 months, if you think you are okay, you can slightly start working on your tummy. And then I bet you, I have had 4 pregnancies, but if you see me,
sweet 16. This one you don't need to be told of. You can see the person is sitting right in front of you. If you are not told, you won't know. So we should stop this misconceptions about CS and all that. So guys don't forget to subscribe, hit on the notification button, comment, share, so that others will get to learn about it and not repeat the mistakes some have already done.